Hi everyone, VortexTCG here, and welcome back to the channel. We've got some brand new gameplay videos showcasing a brand new deck in Rival Hunters, and my opponent is going to be playing Tyrannomon. And if you're looking forward to seeing some Rival Hunters gameplay, maybe a deck profile in the future, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel. It does mean a lot. So my opponent is going to go into the Tiger, I'm going to go into the Digimon, and then I'm going to Digicross for free going into the Opossum. I don't hit a tamer here, but I've established a guy on the field, so feeling a bit better about that. Apologies for the camera early on here, I was messing around with some stuff. Thinking it might be better if it was zoomed in, so you can like read the cards a bit better maybe, but kind of thought it'd be better if you actually saw the whole board essentially. So I promote the Digimon here, but all I do here is play, I believe, the Tamer Iru. This is because I don't really want to swing at security and not have something to save underneath, especially at these guys, because these level 4s, especially if they get deleted, you get to save it and then save one from your trash. So I definitely value that quite a lot, and I want to at least have something that I can put under to save. So I started my main phase. I'm thinking if I want to use the Iru, and I'm considering it here, and I think I do end up going for it, putting the Digimon to delete the Cho-Hakkaimon. So this is one of the cool things about Iru. The minus DP does matter sometimes, and especially if they play like these rookies that get a lot of advantage early on. So I swing for 2 security, the Opossum lives and the Digimon lives. He gets a Tiger, which is a bit worrying, but I'm feeling a bit more confident at this point, because even if I give my opponent free memory here, I don't think he can really do that much, because he has to go through raising primarily. So I think I'm doing okay in this situation. I've also established the Quartzmon blocker, which is very powerful indeed. He decides to play the level 3 here, pop the memory boost for a reduced cost of 1, or 2 even, go into the Tyranno, play, I believe this is the Maki, I think it is, allows you to search for a black color Digimon, I believe it is, I could be wrong, but interesting inclusion. I was talking to him about his build, and he does play Digimon, which makes a lot of sense. Because I believe both GG and GG activates from both green and black tamers, so that's pretty cool. He goes into the Metal Tyranno for a reduced cost of 2, keeping my Digimon suspended, which I think is a pretty good shout here, quite frankly, because I mean, if you can keep him down, I think you're doing pretty well. Especially as that has all my draw power essentially on it, with the Gumdramon and the Monimon underneath. So I put Astamon underneath to do minus 2k to the Metal Tyranno. I tap Iru to go into a Cho-Hakkaimon for a reduced cost of 2, using its effect to do another minus 6k. I do minus 3k for each 2 underneath it. So I delete the Metal Tyranno. I then am able to draw a card from using its effect. And now I'm feeling pretty good. So I swing a security, hits a Tyranno, so the Opossum does die. I get to save the Opossum and then put the Cho-Hakkaimon underneath straight away. And now at this point, I'm thinking if I want to swing with a Quartzmon, I mean, it does put him on a pretty early, more earlier clock, I guess. But I decide here to go into the Psychmon for a Digicross of 2, using his effect to add the Opossum back to hand. So my opponent has to do a lot of this turn, but unfortunately I don't think he can really do that much, because he doesn't really have a board to establish that presence, and every time he's had some sort of board presence, I've been able to delete it, which is obviously not great for my opponent. So he's also at 2 memory, so he can't just hard play a rookie, because if he was able to, he would be able to potentially go into a Tyrannomon for free here. So for the fun, he goes into a Digimon, hard playing it, because why not, really? Doesn't have any effects, unfortunately, but you know, just for fun, because he knows the game's pretty much over at this point. So swing again, and go to game 2. We then get into game 2, and my opponent gets to start, goes into the Cho-Hakkaimon. He then goes into the Dark Tyranno, which is a very interesting choice, if I'm being honest. I don't think those cards have really been explored that much from EX3. I think they're quite interesting. They provide a little bit of defense in an interesting way, I would say. So, yeah, I find that very interesting. So I go into the Opossum, and I finally get a tamer, so that feels pretty nice. I also have the Akaki in Raising. He promotes the Dark Tyranno. One here goes into the... I think this is like the Master Tyranno? It essentially is the Securitat +1 for its main effect, and it's inheritable. So very aggressive card for sure. So at this point, I'm wondering if I want to be more aggressive at security, because I know if I go, well, he might go into the Rust Tyranno following up this turn, so a little bit worried about that for sure. I swung a security there, and I'd live because I have the Clockmon inheritable of jamming, so probably wanted that to die there if I'm being honest, but is what it is. Can't really do much about it at this point. I'm just considering my options here because I think I have quite a few. Hits another one, gets to draw one from the Monimon here, which is always nice. I play another tamer and I play another tamer just because, I mean, at this point, I don't think I had many things to do with my hand, quite frankly. So I just ended up hard playing a lot of these tamers because one of the things I noticed about the Opossumon, which is the reveal top 3 and at play a tamer, is that sometimes I'm just not very lucky about it. So it is what it is. So the Opossum dies, so he gets to be saved, and then I put the Clockmon underneath a Ryoma here, and then he goes. Oh no, he's already gone that. So now he's just figuring out what he wants to do. He's clearly having some trouble finding some tamers because he wouldn't go into the EX1 Tyranno for not playing a tamer, I would assume. So must not be great, to say the least, from my opponent here. So I use the Ryoma effect to put the Hakkaimon underneath. Ryoma's such a great tamer in my opinion. I mean, it just does so much for this deck. It essentially just means your discard is a second resource in most situations, which is very, very powerful in my opinion. So I start to build up a stack in Raising. So I go into the Gumdramon and then the Arrestadramon. It's a fair point to note that I don't play the Superior mode in this version. I'm really focusing on the other rival aspects, so just keep that in mind. I go into Gumdramon to put a Yasamon underneath to draw a card, because I think at this point I just wanted to cycle to find a level 5, because if I find a level 5, I feel like I'm in a better position a lot of the time. So he promotes the Tyrannomon here, and obviously Rust Tyranno would be very powerful here, but he can't really suspend my Gumdramon, so it's a bit of a... It's not a great situation for the Rust Tyranno, but it'll still get some really good value here by doing Securitat +1, and if it does die, my guy gets suspended, which then probably just ends up getting deleted by the Gumdramon. So it does die to the Quartzmon, and then the guy gets suspended. He swings into the Gumdramon, gains a memory. I put the Gumdramon underneath the second Ryoma. And at this point, I just got to hope that I get the cards I'm looking for, really, because if I'm being honest, if I don't find a level 5, it might be a little bit more difficult from this position. So he's been in this position before, though, where he's had 8k, an 8k guy out. So here I use the Ryoma effects to put one underneath each. I could potentially do the Metal Tyranno here if I put one underneath Iru perhaps, but I think my hand at this point is pretty simple to play out, I think, because I go into the Quartzmon, I think, at this point, because it's just way more value. So I use both Ryomas here when I Digivolve to go into an Astamon for 1, putting underneath the Psychmon and the Astamon. Effect allows me to play out a level 4 for free. I can figure out which one I want to play out here. I think I have some really good options, so I play the Yasamon here. Yep, and then I'm able to go into a Quartzmon for a reduced cost of 3. So it'll be for 6. So I tap the Iru to make it 5 instead, using the Opossumon underneath the Iru. And then before I use the Digivolving effect, I use the on-play of the Yasamon, and then use the Quartzmon effect to tap everything and then gain some memory. And at this point I feel like I'm in a pretty good position because I don't think Tyranno has an easy way to get rid of a Quartzmon. So I feel very confident at this point, but I'm not 100% certain about what Tyranno can do from this situation, so maybe it'll surprise us a little bit. He goes into the Cho-Hakkaimon here. He's at 2 memories, so he's probably limited on what he can do, and obviously he doesn't have any tamers out, been very unlucky with that, so he finally gets one in the Tiger, but I think it's a little bit too late, unfortunately, for him. I go into the Gumdramon in Raising. I'm just calculating how much security I'll be able to take with the effect of the Quartzmon. So I swing with the Quartzmon, I suspend the Tiger, and then I'm able to draw... I'm going to do this trash first, and then I'm able to draw, I believe, 5 cards from this stack, and I just do another security check. It's a win rate 60%, so it goes to his hand. And I'm not able to close out the game, but obviously, you know, pretty close. But I think I'd nail the game here when I only pass him with 1. I think if he had like maybe 3 memory, he could have maybe done a little bit more, but unfortunately, he just doesn't have it. So I promote the Opossum, I use Quartzmon to trash the last security and swing for game.